Moving on. Susan Speakman says, come on now, seriously, how many guns do you really need? You know how many guns I really need, Susan? As many as I damn well want. That's the answer to that question. As many as I have the money for. That's the answer to that question. The same answer to how many guns do I really need is the same answer to how many houses do I really need, or how many airplanes do I really need, or how many watches do I really need, or how many pairs of socks do I really need, how many pairs of underwear do I really need? Well, I suppose when you get right down to it, Mr. Progressive, I suppose when you get right down to it, I really only need one pair of underwear. Actually, probably don't even really need underwear at all. Probably just need one pair of pants. And I really only need one shirt. And I really only need one pair of socks, which I'll have to wash every 4, 5, 6 days if I'm lucky, every 8, 10, 12, 15 days. That's okay. I only need one pair. I only need one pair of shoes. As far as living, I only need a roof over my head that I can seal against the elements. I don't really need anything more than that. As far as automobile goes, I don't really need an automobile. I just need to get to work. So as long as there's a train, I can get up 2 or 3 hours earlier to catch the bus or whatever else I need to do so that I can get to work. So I don't really need a car. Don't really need anything other than food, air, water, and shelter. And so if this person that asks you a question, how many guns do you really need? You ask them, how many forks do they need? How many pieces of china do they need? How many bars of soap do they need? How many anything do you really need? The answer is one. That's all you need. And when we get to a world where everything is dispersed according to what is the minimum you need, guess where you are. You're either in the miserable, low good-for-nothing second world of communism where everything was taken away from the people who worked hard. Those people were killed. They were called wreckers and kulaks. You know why kulaks were rich peasants? You know why they were rich? Peasants, right? When I say the kulaks were rich, that had to be exterminated in the 30s by our socialist betters and our progressive friends. The reason that our progressive friends killed the kulaks was because they were rich kulaks. They had 2 or 3 oxen. They didn't just have no oxen. They had 2 or 3 or 4. And maybe they had 2 or 3 people working with them or for them to help them gather their grain. So they were rich, so they had to be killed, and all of their food had to be taken away. Do you know why they were rich? They were rich because if you're going to be a farmer in Russia in the 1920s, it does not require a degree from Harvard in order to do that. It doesn't require noble birth because you're living in a thatched hut. It doesn't require a special sense of artistic ability. What it requires to be a rich peasant in Russia is you have to work harder than other people do. And so the kulaks worked harder than other people did, and the people who didn't work at all didn't like that, so they had them killed. So if you get down to the what do you really need, you can either go that way, where the government provides the bare bone minimums of everything, or you can go all the way to the third world, where there is no government and there is no anything. There's no nothing. Look at the third world. Look at Mexico, or look at parts of South America, or look at virtually all of Africa. Watch daily life in Africa. Take a look at, and this applies to the whole third world. It's Thailand as well. It's nothing to do with Africa. It's parts of the Caucasus are this way. Look at the third world next time you see them on TV or on YouTube, and look at them and look at what's going on. Look at the clothes they're wearing. Look at the cars they're driving. Look at the cell phones. Look at the AK-47s, and remind yourself that these people cannot manufacture any of this. They can't make any of it. They can't make a cotton T-shirt. They can't make a gun. They can't make a car. They can't do anything. Nothing. If you start asking people what's the minimum you need, you end up back in a village with a spear and a thatched hut, because that's about all you need, really, when you get right down to it, is a spear, a bucket to carry the water, and a thatched hut to live in. Now, on the other hand, if the question becomes how many guns do you want, or how many airplanes do you want, or how many houses do you want, or how many cars do you want, or how many changes of underwear do you want, or how many watches do you want? Now, if you live in a world where your want is something that is attainable, then you will find that people will work harder than they would if they couldn't get what they want. If you can't get what you want, you have no incentive to work hard. And if you live in a place where you can never get what you want, you either become a raging alcoholic, like every single person in the Soviet Union seems to be, or you simply give up and chew your cot or whatever your narcotic for the day is, as they do in Somalia. That's pretty simple, really. So that's the answer to the question of how many guns do you really need. The answer to the question of how many guns do you really need is, well, the answer is how many guns do you really want? You can have as many guns as you want, and as many TVs as you want, as many things else as you want. And by the way, there's nothing wrong about this, not immoral. This is what being human is about. This is about the essence of being human, is the ability for us to use our intellects and our creativity and our ambition and our hard work to do more than is necessary to feed ourselves for today. We're the only species in the world that's capable of doing more than is necessary to feed ourselves for today. It's what makes us human, that's what makes the whole thing human, and that's what makes the whole thing work.